Okay, welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the highlights, as Tim mentioned, of the new SI 2016 release. So we're going to start in the catalog. We'll go over here, start catalog, manage products. One method for getting to your downloads, if you will, is this add from library button right here. And when this opens, it'll look familiar to a lot of our existing users that are familiar with our software. The big new addition here is the supply stream integration. And so this is going to allow your cost to come down from your verified vendors, the people you buy from. So if you go ahead and click this, you can see there's the ability to search through categories. You can also expand this list. This is all filters. As you click, it's filtering for you. As you start selecting over here, you'll be able to search through particular manufacturers if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and click one of these. The big difference here is the suppliers button. Now, you do have to register with SupplyStream, and again, that is free to DTools users. There's a register button here, and when you click that, there's a little button that says, get started or, sign up now, and you click that, and you'll get a key to be able to activate this. And once you're registered, you're going to see the suppliers column here, or this icon. And when you click that, it's going to filter automatically to your authorized suppliers, the ones you've set up with SupplyStream. You can show all suppliers. I think there were 2 on this one. So if you do this, you'll see that there was another non-authorized supplier, or authorized supplier. If there is a route here, we're calling it supplier price, but this is going to come down to the unit cost field inside of our software. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll download this, and then if I click this to edit this, this is going to open up. As you can see here, if we go to the price tab, it did have an MSRP out there as well as a unit cost. Now the unit price just defaults to the same as the cost because margin and markup by default are 0. You will want to set your phase and your labor hours here if it's a product that you're initially downloading from SupplyStream. However, if the product already exists in your SI catalog, and it's an exact match out here in the SupplyStream data, you can download and it will go ahead and update the cost field for you, which is a really nice feature to be able to add that in there. None of the DTools data has cost in it, but SupplyStream, that's kind of what they do. They provide costs. So again, since this was a fresh one, you would want to pick a phase, or pick a number of hours as well, an hour to install, if you're using phase labor per products, and then of course use a price setting or a price rule to set your unit price, or type in a margin, 50% margin or whatever you sell this out as. Speaking of price rules, these are now seamlessly integrated into projects. What we mean by that is you always had price rules inside of a project, but now any price rule that you build out here in the catalog will automatically apply down to a project. They used to be separate lists, and the reason for that is price types. Out here in the catalog, you can have up to 12 different price levels, and within a project, you're generally working within 1 or 2 probably for a project, but now it'll just come down seamlessly. So that's a nice new feature. We also added another price setting out here. There used to be only 1 really, but this is the option to maintain your margin or markup and recalculate the price when you change cost, or you can maintain the price and recalculate the margin or markup. Whatever your preference is at any given time, you can set this. So nice big improvement there. Go ahead and close out of here. There's also another big change to the catalog out here is the unit of measure, and that's going to come into play when we talk about purchase orders in a little bit. Let me see if I can go ahead and give you an example here. Do a quick search, and we'll pull up a product here. Like bulk wire is a good example where you would order this in different units than you sell it in. And so when you're looking here at the order tab, you have the option on any product in your SI catalog to check this box, and then you can choose your the order unit of measure. And now you of course can add to this list as well. If you click new, you can type in a new one here if you want to manage that, and then you enter the number of units. And then when you're creating a purchase order through our new purchase order module, it'll do the math for you. So if there's you know, 500 feet of this particular wire in a job is going to let you know that you're going to need 2 spools of that, not 500 spools. So really, really cool new feature there. And this can be used for speakers that you sell singly, but, you know, they're bought in pairs, you know, bags of connectors, whatever. Anything that you buy in a different unit than what you sell or price it in our catalog. And again, that it does integrate to the purchase order system there. So let's go ahead and jump over to projects here. And I'm just going to pull up a project here. Do that one here. And there's a new feature that we have here for rounding up pricing, round prices. You can see over here my unit price column is showing, and most of my numbers in here are pretty even, but I do have some stuff in here that is not even. So let me go ahead and hold shift down and get these selected. You can see over here they're $15.99.99. You know, you can either round up or round down when you click this option, and it's going to work for the selected items. You can choose which field that you want to update, the unit price or the unit cost for the product that you've selected. You can choose decimal places, or in my case, I'm going to zero that out, get rid of that silly .99. I always say it's not really tricking anybody. And we can say, let's round up the price here. Now you've got the round option, round up, round down, or round to the nearest. I'll just show you this drop down. If you are using decimals here, you've got these options here for rounding to the nearest, and then of course all the way up to 1,000 there. I'm just going to say round up. We'll hit round, and as you can see, now these have been rounded. So that's a nice new feature. Again, use it if you want. It gives you nice clean numbers on a proposal or on a report out of the software. Another new feature has to do with miscellaneous items, and this is project specific. As you may know, miscellaneous items are not part of your catalog. They're these unique little beings that exist within a project, and looks similar to before, I'm sure, but this is the big new thing, this compute button, and I'll show you that in a second once I get a little example here. Shipping, I'm not going to take the time to write a description for that, and you can, of course, always type in the price manually if you would like, but if you hit compute here, this is the big new feature where you can basically calculate the price of this miscellaneous item from all items within a project, just products within a project, just labor within a project, or from specific products and labor. Like if you click this, you'll be able to select the products you want. Of course, use your quick filters to find exactly what you're looking for if you want to base it off of just certain parts within a project. I'm going to let it compute from all items, and we'll say here from the field, you get to choose, again, where you're calculating this from for all items, which is really nice. And I'm just going to put a rate in here of 1% for shipping. There's the computed price there. Hit OK, and there it is. Now, of course, if you want to override this at this point and round that to a nice, well, round number, you can at any point manually type that in. But very, very cool new feature for these miscellaneous items. All right, so that's some of the project improvements here. We're going to jump over and show you reports at this point. So on the reports tab here, one of the big new features here is this arrange items button. It's on your reports tab, and you have to have a project open for this because this is going to pull up a little form here where the default is on client reports to list them in alphabetical order. And many of you know that when you do run a proposal report, all the items list in alphabetical based on manufacturer and model. Now, we have custom reports that in the past that we've used that utilize a custom field so you can choose your sort order. But now you don't need that. We've added this feature in here where once you select this radio button, you can then move your products up or down in the list. You can also drag and drop too. You can grab these and drag them where you want them. And this lists all of the products within the job, summarized, mind you. It's going to list each product one time, but you'll get to choose the order here. And the point of this is, of course, you get to pick which order your products print in. So a wire or a connector is not the first thing that your client sees on a proposal just because of it's alphabetically the first thing in the list. So it gives you that nice option of choosing which order these print in. Of course, that's for client reports. So what we've got the ability to do is generate reports as well. We've added quite a few new ones. So if we click this, I just wanted to show you that this list opens up like this. We'll go ahead and close out of that for now. I've already generated these for you, and I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the new reports. And one of them is here, this company profile. What we allow you to do now under your control panel, you have your company information where you set your logo and your address that gets used all throughout our reports. You can also now attach an RTF file, rich text format file, which allows you to format. As you can see, you can bold text, you can add an image, and in this case, it's just a way for you to, tell your clients why you're wonderful. Your company profile can be there. It's a report that generates, it's its own report, but absolutely can be used in report groups. So if you wanted to put together a package, a cover page followed by a scope of work, then your proposal, then your company profile, and then maybe a contract, you absolutely can do that. And this gives you the ability right within the software without creating any custom reports to accomplish that. So very, very cool new report there. We'll go ahead and minimize that. What we've also done is, in this case here, if you take a look, this is a line item detail report. And what this is showing you is the price of the item, the discount, and then the net price. So we've had the requests come in to be able to show the discount next on a line item basis. Some clients like to see that. And this is a line item detail report, so you're not going to see the groupings with accessories and packages on this, but at least it shows the discount amount and the net price, so you can, of course, show your clients that they're getting a heck of a deal by buying from you. Now, the other report here that we pull up is also a line item detail report that we've modified to show the unit price, and then in this case, the extended price. We just called it price because we use the extended term differently than most people do. But what this, of course, does is show you the unit price. It does the math here, times the quantity, and of course shows the price. Now, all of the other reports in our software do not show unit price on them, especially proposals. And again, that boils down to the use of accessories and packages, because you have the ability to not show pricing for those. So that's why we don't show unit price for the most part. But hey, the request has come in for a long time, so this is perfect for those of you that want to show a unit price, and of course, in this case, the extended price. And then last but not least over here, the product details report. Very, very cool new report. So this is kind of the highlight report, if you will, of what the cool equipment is within the project. Every product, when you update to 2016, is going to be marked to display in this report. It's going to be up to you to pick and choose which ones you don't want to display. And what I mean by that is you probably don't want to show connectors on this report. You probably don't want to show wire. Maybe you do. It's really going to be up to you, but this should be the wow stuff in the job, the stuff you want to call out. And this is the only report inside of our software that by default uses the long description for products. We've had that field forever. There's a short description and a long description. And now we are utilizing that long description here, again, to do like a highlight report here. As you can see, it just shows a large image and then, of course, the long description. So definitely take a look at your long descriptions if you plan to use this. And that setting is per item. This is a catalog setting, so you can use a mass update in your catalog, again, to say, don't show any of this wire after you use a quick filter, or all these connectors, get them out of there, or mounting brackets, don't show them. But this option here at any point can be checked or unchecked, and whether or not it shows up on that report. So while we're showing project stuff at this point, let's jump over to Visio, and what we're going to do is show you some of the new shapes that we've added in this release. We're going to start over here, and I'm going to show you the off-page reference shape. This is a very, very cool wire shape is what we consider it, definitely for use on schematic pages, but it can be used on any page, mind you, but it works in conjunction with your SI wire shapes. So I'm going to zoom in here, and you can see that I have a device here with its inputs and outputs, and here's one of our wire shapes. This is an HDMI cable in this case. I'm going to go ahead and make a connection here. Now, generally on a schematic page, you would then pull over another device and make this connection to the device. But there are going to be times when you don't want to put the device on the same page. Or maybe the device is on the same page, but it's elsewhere. It's way up at the top, and there's too many other like lines crossing here, or wires, I should say, crossing. You don't want to just drag this up. You want to just have a reference of where it connects, and that's the point of the off-page reference. And just to show you, it does live over here in the wire shapes stencil, and you can drag these over if you want. But we've also built in just a right-click option. If you come here to D-Tools, Wire, you have the option to create off-page reference, and it will automatically connect to the other end of the wire. You can, of course, choose an existing page for this to exist on, or I'm going to go ahead and put its corresponding piece, and that's what we're doing now, what page we're connecting to. I'm going to do a new page, and we'll just call this schematic, I don't know, video, I guess. I don't know. And I'm going to pick a type here, of course. You have to pick when you're creating a page what type you want it to be. So I'll create that, and what just happened is it created a new page. Well, first of all, put this here, and let me find my page. Where'd it go? I'm looking here, and I'm trying to find my page. I don't know what just happened. Where did it go? This should be on a new page called schematic. Let's try this again. Give me a sec. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to use this hyperlink option to go find it. There it is. It just actually named it schematic view. Sorry about that, guys. Let me zoom in here. What it did is created a new page here. Again, schematic view. And it added this and the wire itself, and it attached that other device here. When we say that other device, we're looking at the component ID here, web-001. So if you hold Control again and click on this, it'll take you back to the main page, and that's what it's referencing, the web-001. So what you can do here, I'm going to go ahead and just hold Control down and go over to this one. I'm going to add a device to this page. And to do that, let me just pull this back over here and pull up the project editor, search for what I'm looking for. Shrink this down a little bit. I'm going to pull over the device. And this time, I'm going to make a connection on this end of the wire. And you'll notice real quickly, let's just do it to save that one. If we go back to the other page by holding Control and clicking this link, you'll notice that it's filled in automatically the component ID for that other device. Now you do have options for this shape. Of course, your shape data window is what you're going to want to use. Click on this and then pull this out. You can decide whether you want to show the page name or the page number, and you can display, the port is displayed by default, but if you want to show signal or terminal, you certainly can. We'll just do that here real quickly. And as you can see, it added the signal. And if we wanted the terminal as well, it will expand this shape out horizontally. So very, very cool new off-reference or off-page reference shape. I think a lot of you are going to use that. We've had this request for a long time. Visio has a built-in off-page reference shape, but now we've, of course, modified it to put our component IDs, page names, and things like that. So it's a very, very cool shape for using off-page references. Our next new shape that I'm going to show you, let me go over to this here, will be our coverage shapes. So there's 3 of them for now. If you go to your general floor plan symbols, you'll see camera with coverage, dome camera with coverage, and there's a motion detector with coverage over here. So I'm just going to drag one of these over here real quickly and drop it. We'll hit no on that prompt. And I'm going to pick just something from my database here. Pick a dome camera, we'll select that, and we'll say it's front entrance, part of my security system. And so, of course, what I'm doing, since I dragged from here, is adding a product to my project, so I need to pick its location and system. Here's a prompt for the accessories. I'll cancel those for now. Here's the new shape. If you take a look at this, you have a handle here that you can then use to show your coverage, but you can also manually type in that over here, of course, in the shape data window. The properties we've added are down here at the bottom. Coverage style, coverage sweep angle, and then the color. Of course, we got to drop down here. If you want to make this red, you can do that. You can show fill only, line only. If you notice that it won't be a fill, or both, line and fill. It's up to you. And then, of course, you can choose your degree. You can also type in here, but if we say 140, it will automatically expand for you, just again to demonstrate the coverage. And we have motion detector for that and a regular camera as well. And while I'm here, let me just zoom in. I guess I can leave that down here, put that there. And the other new shapes that we want to show you are the cable tray shapes. So they're in their own stencil up here. If we go ahead and expand this, you can see there's a list of cable tray. And I'll go ahead and drag over one of these here. And pull over another one here. Let's see this reducer, for instance. And if you take these and get them close here, you can see that they will snap to each other. Now, those of you that were paying attention probably noticed I did not get prompted to add a product as I drag these over. That's intentional. This stencil is one of the handful of shapes that are in there that we do not link automatically to products in our database, and that's because there are so many variations for cable trays. If you take a look over here in the shape data, we've added tray width, the tray width reduce, and in this case, let me just show you. I'm going to the reduction end here. I'm going to put down to 4 inches. You can see it'll automatically change for you there. You can change the length, the depth. So, I mean, there are thousands and thousands of products out there that have different configurations for this. So, if you are going to use these shapes and you do want to charge for them, you want them to be part of the project, use our feature. Now, this is not a new feature, but it's a great one. You come here and go to, let's see, right-click D Tools, link to product. And you can either link to a new product if you want to add to the project, or you can add link to an existing product. So if you've already, say, sold this proposal where you've quoted out all this cable tray stuff and you're now just drawing this, you're going to link it to an existing item in your project editor. So very, very cool new shapes here. I'll show you a little example here that I did by zoom in a little bit. These are a bunch of racks. This is a rack room here. I've got some elbow shapes, some of the reducer shapes there, and these are just, of course, to scale rack shapes. If you double click that, this product, it's linked to racks within the software. So that's just an example of what you can do with these new cable tray shapes. So go ahead and I'm just going to close out of this. We'll go ahead and save that. I'm also going to close out of the other project, and we're going to jump over to purchase orders now. That's a big deal. That's a nice new feature that we have in the software. And we've always had the ability to, let's go back to the main interface here, to create purchase order reports. They're still part of the software. You can still just run the reports if you want to. Now, they're not linked by any stretch over to the purchase order system, but they're still there. Just want everybody to know that we're not taking things away from you. But this new purchase order system is fantastic, and you'll probably abandon those old reports if you were using them because you have reports here, but it's actually linked to now a purchase order. Very, very cool. So what I have here is the Purchase Order Explorer. I don't have any created at this point in time, so I'm going to go ahead and create one right here with you. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up here. We're going to go ahead and pick a vendor from my list. Of course, this is looking at your vendor list, but if it's a brand new vendor, they're not a part of your SI software yet, you can create a new one or import from Outlook or QuickBooks. The number's automatically going to be generated because that's what I've set my option to under the control panel. You can choose your prefix out there as well as your starting number, but I'm just going to let mine auto-generate the default here. Now, you could add terms here if you want to, and again, I'll just type in a random stuff here. You'll see it on the report. There's a contact that's associated with this vendor, so that's listed on this tab. The addresses will show here. There's the vendor address as well as the ship to address, which by default will be your company address. If you are shipping to site, you can change that. You can add any notes that you would like to a, again, just random stuff there, to the purchase order. And now the fun part, adding products to this. So very cool new feature here. When I say new, we've had purchase orders in the past. I said earlier we did, but it was only through QuickBooks. The QuickBooks integration had the purchase order capabilities. Now those were always based off of a project though. That's all. You would have a project, you would need to order things for that project, and if you were using our QuickBooks integration, you could push a purchase order over. Very, very cool. It's still there. Still absolutely functional. But now we've added the ability to add products to a purchase order from your catalog. So if you happen to keep things in stock, whether it be, a couple pairs of speakers, maybe vent panels and some things from Middle Atlantic, bits that you might actually keep in stock, you can add from your catalog and order those versus adding from a project. Now, having said that, of course, I'm going to add from a project because that's, to me, cooler functionality here. And when you're choosing adding from a project, you could order individual units, but that means we're going to list everything individually. If there's 50 of a particular item, like magnetic locks in a job, there's 50 of them, it'll list all 50. Or you could do summarize. If you want to order all of them, that would be your option here, where once we pick a project here, give me a second, let me pick this project here. We'll go ahead and check that project in. Nice prompt there. Definitely want to check in your projects. And what we've got here, if you take a look, is the all of the products within a job. Now, if I had assigned a vendor to these, would pre-filter to a particular vendor over here. I don't have any vendors pre-assigned here, but I'm going to pick some of this stuff here, and let's just pick this thing, and let's do these two. Just as an example on this PO, I'm going to hit add and close, and now it's added these parts. The thing that you want to notice here is the bulk wire, because that's what I've set up to have a unit of measure. If you look over here, when I was adding those, it was showing the actual footage within the job, or I guess the word is meterage, but if you are on the metric system, of course, it's in meters based on your Windows settings. In my case, it showed like 2,500 feet for some of them, so it lets me know how many spools I need. It's just doing the math for you based off of that unit of measure. What I do want to mention here is this button at the top here, this QuickBooks option. So we still have the ability to create a QuickBooks purchase order from a project. That's still there. However, if you create the QuickBooks purchase order from our purchase order interface here, it will respect that unit of measure. This is the only place it's going to do that. So that's why we added that button here. But I'm not saying you have to create QuickBooks purchase orders. It's only if you tend to want to do that or if you use QuickBooks. This is a fully functional standalone purchase order system. That button is just there if you need it. So once you've added your parts here, you could run reports or send this to Outlook, like a very similar functionality like we have for tasks and service orders. Let's take a look at the reports. But before I do that, what I do want to mention is you're not locked down to one project. So if I now come here and go, let's add more products to this from a project, it's going to show me the existing project here, but I can also add another project to this purchase order, which of course is great. If you're ordering from a vendor and you have 3 jobs that are currently active that you need to order from, and you want to buy all the parts at once and get some sort of bulk discount from your vendor, absolutely you can do that. So that's what I wanted to show off. I'm going to come here now and run a report. We'll save this PO. And let's just go ahead and run a purchase order. This is the primary report out here. Expand that for everyone, full screen. As you can see here, it's listing the information about this. There's the terms that I put my hand on my keyboard for earlier, but it does print on this. This purchase order report is customizable, just as are all of the reports in our software via the report designer, but this will be the default purchase order report. If you want to, PDF this and then, or right here, just email the report to your vendor, you certainly can do that. And then there's also a purchase order by status. That's generally if you want to run a report over multiple purchase orders, not from within one single one. There's also a reports button. Can't see it right now, but it is behind there. So you could select multiple POs and run reports off of them. Very, very cool. Now there's an additional feature here. Since I mentioned running that report, PDFing it, and exporting it, or sending to your vendor, we have a vendor portal. This is for our software assurance clients only. Software assurance is a optional plan when you purchase our software. At any point, you can jump on the software assurance plan to be able to publish to a vendor portal. And what that means is, let's go ahead and publish this, the vendor portal. Yes. Publishing. Your vendors will be able to log in to a web interface and view your purchase orders that you've sent out there, and they can accept or reject them. They can add notes out there, and I'll go ahead and show you that. Before I do that, you have a view into the vendor portal. It's going to be different than your vendor's view, so first let me show you your view here, where you're going to just be able to view the purchase order, or in this case, this particular purchase order that is out there. It's that report that I showed you earlier. It's just now out here as a I guess a PDF. There's history and comments here, and it's just the fact that we've created this is the only thing that's happened so far. And of course, you can email from here or print from here. That is you as a buyer, if you will, your view into the vendor portal. The actual vendor portal looks like this when they go to sign in. And of course, when you set up your vendors and you have your contacts for them, they're going to get information on how to log in, a temporary password that they'll then change. But let's go ahead and sign in here as if I was a vendor. And this is what you'll see out here. They're going to see, how many they have, and very similar to our, again, mobile install interface. We have different filters here to find, new, pending, accept or rejected in this case. If you go ahead and click this, it's going to show all of the POs, the one I just pushed. We'll go ahead and click on that, and that will pull this up. And the big difference here is, between their view and yours is the accept and reject buttons, as well as this little vendor reference number. They can put in their own reference number here that will synchronize back to our software. So I'll go ahead and do that, put a number in there and save that. Now, if they reject this, they're going to be able to add a comment here, and we can type in a comment, cost is wrong on all items, something like that. Hit reject here. Now that's been rejected. Now you would see that back in our software. You're going to see that there is a rejection there, and of course those notes are going to then display in the history in your view for the purchase order. Now, of course, when they accept it, they can also hit accept and like all good now. So of course, when you do get that information back, you can adjust the purchase order. Again, in this case, my cost is wrong. Let's change the cost on that and republish that back out to the vendor portal. They can log back in. Of course, they've got an email that you publish it and approve it or not. You can see there's send email. We'll accept that. So you will get an email when that's checked once the purchase order is accepted. So that is the vendor portal there. I'm going to jump back here. Let's go ahead and save and close this PO here real quick. And because I'm already in here, I'm going to update this from the vendor portal. And now we can see that it's been issued. If we open this up, I just want to show you here. Let's expand this down a little bit. It lets you know at the very bottom here that this has been accepted. So again, at this point, you can decide what you want to do. At this point, there's the vendor reference number that you saw me type out there. That, again, I told you that synchronized down. It does. The other feature that we have out here to show is this purchase order receives. It's a little section down here at the bottom. So if you want to add a new receive, as we call it, you can do that. Now, you don't have to accept the entire purchase order. Obviously, that doesn't always happen. You could order 50 of something, and they only send you 48 of them. 2 will be there in 2 weeks, or again, whatever communication you have back and forth with your vendors. But let's do that. So you can see the quantities ordered. There's the received. Over here, use your tab button on your keyboard to quickly go through this. But let's say I only got one of these. We got one of these, 8 of these, and let's say 9 of these and 3 of these. So everything came in except for 2 spools of wire and 1 of these, whatever, actuator things. You can add notes here if you want to. The next one will be in. I'm not going to really take your time to type in a real note there. And then there's reports for this. I'm just going to hit save and close first and run reports from here. Go ahead and do this. Purchase order receive, as you can see. Go ahead and run it, and it's going to show you, based on what I just typed in there, what was received and what wasn't. So very cool. And this all correlates back to the project file. So the next time you go to open up this project file, it knows there's a PO here, it knows what was received, and it will prompt you to update that. So very, very cool new interface here for purchase orders within the software. Now, I did mention, of course, the QuickBooks purchase order that you can push from here that will respect the unit of measure. And since QuickBooks is on the tip of my tongue, I want to show you that you can now also work with QuickBooks Online. It's a very big deal for a lot of you. You've been using the online version of QuickBooks. So let's go over here. I'm going to open up this project file because we're going to send over an estimate right from this project file. There you're seeing a prompt. This was the project I used. So purchase orders have been updated. Would you like to update the item order field? You know what? Why wouldn't I do that? I'm going to go ahead and select this. It's showing me a list here. Of course, it was purchase order 1. I'm just starting here with this, but you can see what's been received. Again, I'm just showing you. This one's partially received. Oops, let me select that. So we'll go ahead and hit next on this. And then you get to choose the fields that update. So in this case, I'm going to let it all go in. Absolutely. And now here's your option down here for that unit cost, because as you're talking back and forth to a vendor and dealing with purchase orders, like I said, maybe the example was, hey, the cost is wrong, so you change the cost. But, well, wait a minute. If that came from a project, my cost in this project was the original one I put on that purchase order. So if you're going to update that cost within a project, you might want to stop at this point and make a revision. So you have a change order here, even if it's an internal change order. Up to you on that, but or you may not update the unit cost at all. Be like, nope, that's how this project went out. That's what it's going as. But if you're looking for accuracy and updating this, you get to choose one of those new price options that I mentioned earlier, where when the cost changes, do you maintain the margin markup and recalculate the price, or the default here is being maintain the price and just recalculate the margin or markup? Probably the choice, but it's up to you. So we're just going to hit update on that. And of course, that is our order field. So if I scroll over here, there's some stuff that was just ordered, a few of those parts there. So there's the one that was received. So very, very cool. So, oops, let me scroll back over here. And that was kind of sideline there because it did prompt me for the purchase order. My point of taking you out here is to show you QuickBooks Online. So under your QuickBooks settings now, you either use the desktop version or the online version. Once you choose online, you're going to have to connect to your account out there, and it's very simple interface here where you're going to put in your username and password for your QuickBooks Online account. It's going to ask you if you want to connect automatically through our software. You authorize it to connect, kind of a one-time thing there, and then after that, you're connected. So very, very cool, but let's just show actually pushing something over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick just a few products here. I'm probably going to have to create them, so I'll just pick 2 products, should be enough for an estimate. I'm going to create this for the selected items, and it's going to load the estimate form. Now, I pushed over some estimates earlier for this particular customer and job. Otherwise, this would be blank here. And any of you that have been using the QuickBooks desktop version know that this is the same interface. All we're doing now is just connecting to a different end, the end being QuickBooks Online. So if this customer doesn't exist, or it was a new job for a customer, of course you have these buttons here to create either the new customer and job or just the job. I've got some items here that are not a part of my QuickBooks file yet, so all I do is, in general, hit create estimate. It's going to warn me that I need to create items. So again, same functionality as before. Choose yes. It's pulling this up. I'm going to go ahead and hit create. Hit create. It's created those items, and this is now going to save this estimate and kick it over. It's estimate 1004. So let's save the project, and now I'm going to come over here and let's go to QuickBooks Online. Oh, it kicked me out. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I don't know what the timeout is on QuickBooks Online, but there we go. So now that I'm logged in here, if you come up here, we could look at products and services, and I'll show you that somewhere in here, where's my Middle Atlantic? There's the 2 things that I was just creating from the software. They're now parts out here. And if we go to our customer list here, pick this customer job, there's my estimate 1004. Go ahead and click on that, and it should come down, and there it is. That's what we just ordered from QuickBooks, or sorry, not ordered, created the estimate for. And of course, you could do POs through that as well. Or again, if you want to use the unit of measure, do it through our PO interface versus the project interface. So very, very cool that we now integrate to this. All right, the last bit I'm going to show you has to do with scheduling. And there's quite a few changes out there, both in the software as well as in our mobile install interface. That's what I was trying to say. So let's first come out here to schedule and let's go to manage tasks. So we'll start here. We have a new setting, and of course these settings exist under your control panel, but if you go here, there is a new thing here for business hours where you are able to choose, Monday through Sunday here. We mark it as a holiday, even though it's a weekend here, but you do get to pick, on a week-to-week basis. If there happens to be a holiday, you can check it as a holiday. You can, of course, change your start and end dates here for scheduling. And what that really ties into is when you are scheduling out technicians for tasks and service orders, we do warn you if you try to schedule outside of your working hours. Prior to this release, we just assumed everybody works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We know that's not the case, so hence this interface where you do get to pick your own hours. And we're going to warn you. I mean, that's it. It'll just say a warning, hey, you're trying to double book, just as if you were trying to put the same technician out on 2 different tasks at the same time. We're going to give you a warning, and if you choose to ignore that warning, that's on you. But that's what business hours does. Cool new feature. It was a request that came in, so we do listen. Real quickly, what I'm going to do is jump over to the calendar, and we do have a new view out here on the calendar, and it is the timeline view. So, normally you might see the month view out here depending on your preferences, and of course, whatever you filter to over here. Here's your technicians assigned as tasks and service orders. Of course, you can filter by project or by date. Here we are on the 29th, and I've got 3 things scheduled here. So if you go to the timeline view, this is the new view. This wasn't in the previous release, where we show you on a day-to-day basis, broken down, in this case by hour, but you do get to change your interval duration here if you want to whatever you feel like. You can get as granular as 15 minutes or as far out as a day if you want to. So again, cool new view. It was a request that came in, so that's there now. All right, let's now talk about some of the changes that we've made out in the mobile install interface. So let's go there. Pull this up here and go to mobile install. Here we are at the dashboard within mobile install. The first thing I'm going to show you is under setup here. Let's go to preferences. This is a new feature here, this enable timesheets. So prior to this release, when you did issue a task or a service order out to technicians, each technician only had 1 field to fill in for their time. It's the estimated hours are here. What's your actual hours? A lot of our users put out tasks over multiple days. I don't know how many service orders go over multiple days, but tasks, it's quite common. We'll send out for a week or whatever. But there's only 1 field. So up until this point, a lot of you were using site notes to keep track of daily work and how much time was done. But this, if you now enable timesheets, we give you the ability to log multiple bits of time per task. Per installer for that matter. So very cool feature. I'll demonstrate that in a second. You also have some options down here that weren't here before, like displaying price when approving a task or a service order, whether you want to display price on service order items when you're adding those. It's also display analysis of estimated versus actual to your installers. And what we mean by installers is when you create your mobile install users, they're either an installer or an administrator. Installers only see their own stuff. Administrators see everything. So you can decide whether they're going to see, estimated versus actual. So very cool new settings that, again, tons of requests come in for this. This is a very popular interface of ours. You can also choose notifications here where the publisher of the task gets notified via email, whether when it's completed, task or service order. So what that means is it used to be before you had to be, a mobile install user there, but now it could just be, a user of SI that is the person publishing this. They don't actually log in or take a look out here in mobile install, but they do want to get notified when tasks are completed, like project managers. It's kind of something they like to know. So anyways, that's a new feature as well. Since I enabled timesheets, let me hit save. And I'm going to, now we'll go back here to the dashboard, look at my not started tasks, and I'm going to open up this one here by clicking on this. So there's some other new cool stuff out here besides the timer, but I'm going to hit start work up here, this timer. Of course, it prompts you to change the status to in progress. Let's do that. I'm going to let this run while I'm talking so I can show you the timesheet thing in a second here. But you'll notice here, we moved the pick list up in this list. So of course, before your techs leave the building, they might want to use this electronic pick list to pick everything that's on this job. You can do that if you want. Now, this only resides out here in this interface. We don't synchronize back. We don't track picked within our software, but pretty cool, a little electronic version of what, make sure everything got on the truck. And avoid some of those excuses of things that didn't. What we also added was an IP address field. So out here, when you are editing individual items, now this one's probably not a good example. It's a bunch of wire for a pre-wire, but doesn't matter. It's still there. If you hit edit this, you can, of course, we had serial number always in this interface. Of course, you're installed and whether it was installed, the date, and your notes. The only new thing out here is IP address, but that's cool because it does synchronize back down to, of course, the task and then the project as well. So very, very cool because a lot of times you don't know the IP address of the stuff until it's programmed out on site. So that's there. Speaking of site, we have added site items here to tasks. Now, some of you might, hey, we always had site items. Well, you know what? We did, but only for service orders. Service orders, we expect there to be site items. Oftentimes when you create a service order, you don't know what's happening out in the field. You don't know what to send them with, and they take stuff off the truck, they use it, and they want to mark site items. Well, we got feedback from all of you that say, hey, well, that happens on tasks too. When we're sending them out to install a job, if the client's there, they might be able to upsell them on something, or, hey, let's add another keypad over here, something along those lines. So we did add site items out here. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And again, you have to be on 2016 for this to work. That's what we're demoing here. But very similar to service orders, we can add products or labor, but let's add a product here. I'm going to go. Just put a thing in here, touchpad. I don't know the price on this, so I'm just going to put $250. You can choose who installed it. I'll put myself. Why not? Any notes here? Serial number, IP address. So there you go. All these fields now. This is also different, by the way. If you guys were using site items over in service orders, it was only like 3 or 4 fields before, I think. Can't remember. Now we have all these fields that you can fill in. A lot more detail out here, which is really, really nice. And again, everything I'm showing you here applies back over to service orders as well. But the big deal is that this is now available for tasks. Go ahead and save that. And I'm going to go ahead and hit stop timer here because I got more stuff to show you. So this is offering to add a time entry. So it's not the only field anymore. It's not just the install hours field. It is a time entry in a timesheet. So of course you could put in a description. You know me, I'm not going to really type anything. So just slam that down there. You could add this to a newer existing site item if you need to do that as well. But this is just going to go straight to a timesheet view. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add, and then I'm going to show you the actual timesheets. Now, in order to get these site items, by the way, to synchronize back down to SI, just like with a service order, you have to approve the site items. So, and the intent of this is to get a client signature off on it. This wasn't part of the original agreement. If I'm putting in this touch panel out here in the field, that's not part of the contract you sign. You might want to get some sort of agreement from them on that. So we did build that, of course, out here into tasks. So let me do that. There also is the approve tab down here, of course, but we also give you the link right here. Same thing. Just to come in here if you want to see me expand this. This is what I added. These are just collapsed by default now because it could get out of hand if we just expanded, 500 items to install. But get the client if you want to sign off on this, or if you have to just have your tech sign off on it. There's my awesome signature. Hit approve. It's now approved. These will synchronize back down to the software. I'll show you that in a second. But really, I want to show you the timesheets tab because this is where that little bit that I just added with my description there was added, and I can add more. I can come in here and say, again, I'm just going to put a bunch of O's in this one and put 4 hours, manually type that in there and hit add, and you can see we just logged this out here. You can export timesheets to CSV, either here or via your login here, export timesheets. I'll give you an interface to export any timesheets you want there, but it will go to a CSV file that you can then, of course, import into whatever accounting system you're using, assuming that you can import a CSV file there. That's a big deal to a lot of you, that you need to, again, track time and timesheets. You need to get it over to an accounting software. As long as it can take a comma-separated value CSV file, we have the option of exporting this data out for you. So very, very cool. And that's just about it. That's what I've got to show you, except for, let's just, oops, sorry, I don't want to open Outlook. I want to go down here. I'm going to go ahead and close and save this project because actually that's not the one we were picking on. It's a different one. This is the bar and grill. I'm going to go back into our interface here. I do want to show you this. Let's go back here to manage tasks. I'm going to select this and I'm going to update from mobile install. So everything that we put out there got updated. There's a few things I do want to mention here. Let me go ahead and open this. Prior to this, what would happen is this would still be not started in our software. Even though I marked it as in progress out in mobile install, the status field, it didn't translate down to this progress field. The reason for that is the status field is rigid out there in mobile install. There's only 3 of them. There's not started, in progress, or complete. Here, of course, you can manage your progresses because this is inside of our software. We allow you to make these changes. You can put it in whatever language you speak, or if you just have better terminology than we do. Mine's the stock list here, which of course matches. But this is the new feature down here. When mobile install status is changed to in progress, you can choose anything from your custom list of progresses to change it to automatically. And of course, the complete one's a big one, so it'll automatically mark as completed. Again, my list is stock. I don't get creative with those names. A lot of you do, or you have like 50 things in this list. So absolutely, you set this here. Now the same is true also for purchase orders out there. You can choose, what you want it to update to, as far as whether it's been received, whether it's in stock received. Those are all customizable. I didn't demonstrate that earlier, but just know that it's very similar. You set your fields there, and that's why this is automatically changed to in progress versus what it used to do. And we should just give you the note here, and you don't have to manually change that. So to me, way cool feature. Now, there's nothing else really to show you here because I didn't really add much except for the site item here. I'll show you that, and it basically is showing you that it's not added to the project. We're not going to just hammer this in on you, but the next time you go to open that project file, we're going to prompt you that, hey, there's site items here. Do you want to add them? So I would like to demonstrate that, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Let's go back to projects. Let me find my bar and grill. There it is. Let's open this up. Let's check it out. And you'll notice a prompt there. There's one site item in mobile install not added to the project. Would you like to add them? I sure would. And when you do that, of course, wow, opened the full screen from earlier, but this is showing what we sold them, the task number it's from, and then when you choose, of course, there could be multiple site items. In my case, there's one. Choose to add to project. It's going to open up your add to product form, just like if you were adding a product normally. Now, this is pre-filtered. I happen to name this pretty well. In fact, I named it exactly as the part in my catalog. If it's not, you may not get this pre-filter here. That's fine. If it's not, just hit reset. Or again, if it pulls up the wrong thing in the pre-filter, you're like, no, that's not the part we added. Just hit reset. You can then search for any product or quick filter to find what you're looking for. In my case, let's just type in there, search for this, and it'll say that this touch panel went into central dining as part of control system. Add and close. And now this is prompting you to save and check this into the server after you add items to it, so that makes sure it gets updated in case you don't decide to save later. And I'll say, yeah, why not? There we go. That's now been checked in. We're good to go. It checks it automatically back out to you. And then, of course, you can continue working if you want to. So that is the part I just added here, and it's been added to central dining as part of my control system. Thanks, everybody, for listening through this demo. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording, and we're going to open this up for Q&A.